The TikTok story, the app that changed the world. Even if you don't consider yourself an avid user of social media, the rise of TikTok has taken the world by storm, and it could easily be defined as the app that changed the spectrum of social media as we know it. Merging various concepts that would catapult it into the #1 spot for years, TikTok has consolidated itself as the king to be beat across the board, passing 800 million active users in 2020, with 2021 aiming to surpass those numbers even further. With a simple yet genius concept, the app becomes an addiction once you open it. Its algorithm makes a fantastic job of throwing catchy dances at you, putting new life into forgotten songs, or even reminding you of a funny dialogue from your favorite film or TV show. Allowing its users to record videos with endless possibilities, TikTok puts their users in center stage, aiming to provide a fantastic tool to explore one's very own creative endeavor. This has been the app's magic formula, with its engagement rate being one of the highest out of all other competition, making sure millions of fan communities alike to have the ability to grow and reach out. However, the app's success didn't come alone. Behind it lies a story of intelligent expansion, aggressive entrance to new markets, and some controversies and challenges along the way. Instead of regular people coming up with a good idea that would revolutionize the world of social media, TikTok's origins begins with a tech giant that wanted to expand beyond its reach. Join us as we lay out the TikTok story and how it became the app that changed the world. Now, before we dive in, please consider subscribing to the channel and activating notifications to stay updated with the latest stories in the business world. Number 1. The story of 3 apps. The merger. The year is 2014, and longtime friends Alex Su and Luyu Yang began thinking an idea revolving around a new type of technique for teaching. Both were passionate about expanding the knowledge of others, trying hard to establish a realistic concept that would aim to educate many people through the use of short videos. However, after many months of trying, both Alex and Luyu scraped the idea as the concept they both had in mind was simply not profitable. However, Vine reached its prime just a year prior, with the concept of short, fun videos still at its peak, so both Alex and Luyu knew that there was a way to make their idea work. With a little tweaking, they would go on to create Musical.ly, a social media platform that would sometimes be compared to Vine for its use of short and compact media. This brainchild of them managed to reach approximately 70 million downloads in just a few years. And unlike Vine, Musical.ly allowed its users to create up to 15-minute videos, with time varying in between, but content creators would eventually find its niche in lip-syncing and dancing, taking less than a minute to make. Soon enough, Asia was dominated by the app, with even a slight following in the United States. An important factor that would weigh in some years later, as other companies began to take Musical.ly's popularity into consideration, taking notice of its growing and expansive potential. Back in 2012, Zhang Yiming, a young Chinese entrepreneur, created ByteDance, a multinational internet technology company that by 2016 launched a similar service as Musical.ly called Douyin, fixating on the short video format with emphasis in sharing and interaction. Yiming had been fascinated with Musical.ly's performance on the Asian market and wanted to capitalize on the trend, with ByteDance's creative team only needing 200 days to create the original version of Douyin. Yiming's bet paid off, as the app proved to be as fast-growing as Musical.ly, attracting almost 100 million users in the first year alone. And while both apps continued growing exponentially, Yiming had a plan in mind: to enter the international market and acquire its biggest competitor, Musical.ly, in order to penetrate the Western market, something Musical.ly had already managed to achieve. However, Yiming was having a hard time coming up with a decent enough idea to rebrand the merger of the apps while not losing any acceptance and active users Musical.ly already had in the United States. Finally, in 2017, Musical.ly was acquired by ByteDance for $1 billion, beginning phase 1 of Yiming's plan. A year after the merger, Musical.ly disappeared to become what we know today as TikTok, maintaining all of its active users while also starting an aggressive campaign that would catapult it into international attention. Back in Asia, Douyin would continue without changes, leaving TikTok an open door to expand into the rest of the world. Number 2. Expansion. The app that we all know today was not an overnight success. In 2018 alone, ByteDance invested almost another $1 billion in just advertising, using various methods that would eventually overflow the international market. The use of celebrities was also a big part of the campaigns, with famous names such as Cardi B and Offset promoting the app constantly. This bet would prove to be successful at first, as data showed significant increase in app downloads, but with a problem. 90% of the first-time users were leaving the app after only 30 days. ByteDance had its first big issue: users' retention. After careful evaluation, the app innovated its features, slowly introducing even more ways of social interaction within the platform, making the creators and its fans closer than ever. Also, the focus shifted to provide an infinite amount of tools to the users. The easiness of making videos made it a driving force behind the app's appeal. Soon enough, numbers began to change, with downloads surpassing 2 billion worldwide on both the Apple Store and Google Play Store, and with 800 million active users around the globe. Number 3. King of social media. TikTok's own mission statement says a lot about where they focus the effort: to capture and present the world's creativity, knowledge, and precious life moments directly from their mobile phones. This is the app's main appeal: the idea that without any previous knowledge, anyone can be a creator and anyone can reach for the stars, with the only limitations being the user's very own creative expression. And because of this, the competition is dwarfed by TikTok's statistics. It would take Instagram, the world's most popular photo-sharing platform, 6 years to gain the same amount of active users as TikTok had in half that time. All of this due to the app's most redeeming quality: its amazing engagement capabilities within users and creators. And with the passing of the years, as well as due to constant user feedback, new features are introduced and added to the platform, with its creators finding new ways to create and impose trends that only make the app move upward in popularity. This dictation of trends is a big attraction for corporations, as TikTok's most famous stars are relatively newcomers to stardom. The rise of these newly famous celebrities reflect the idea behind the mission statement of anyone being able to become a creator, an imposer of trends. 95% of the app's most followed accounts are of non-celebrities, meaning people who beforehand had no interaction with fame. TikTok's shiniest star is without a doubt the young Charli D'Amelio, who managed to reach 108 million followers by dancing since the early days of Musical.ly. Addison Rae, another personality, also reached fame through the app, having the second most followed account with 76 million, also a young dancer. The third most followed account is that of Zach King, a creative filmmaker that rose to stardom due to his amazing capabilities of compiling cinema magic-like techniques into TikToks. However, just like these 3 cases, there are other millions of creators that every day manage to build their following and find their voices through the app, growing their communities and changing their lives forever. After all, they were ordinary people before rising to fame. They just happened to be recording themselves while doing what they loved most and sharing it with the world. Yet again, this resonates with the idea of anyone being able to be the next big star, as the app grants its users the same opportunity as they once had, the only limitations being their own creativity. Number 4. Controversies. While everything inside the app was good enough, with the users and creators mostly happy, on the outside a storm was gathering. TikTok's rapid growth not only attracted the attention of 800 million users, but also government officials from various countries, as mobile applications were being watched constantly for their potential use for malicious intent. Obviously, TikTok didn't lag behind the various bans imposed by government administrations, as India was the first country to put its sights on the app. In 2019, after a court order to remove it from app stores around the country, TikTok was banned due to various claims regarding the massive spread of pornography throughout the app. This raised eyebrows internationally, as the app statistics showed that most of its users were between the ages of 14 and 24 years old. However, the ban was lifted shortly after due to a successful appeal that saw the app return to the country. Yet India banned it again a year later, this time alongside other Chinese-owned apps, as Indian officials were concerned about the sovereignty and integrity of India. ByteDance tried to appeal the decision but ultimately failed, having to lay off more than 2,000 employees across the country, essentially pulling the plug and ending TikTok's presence in their biggest market. Soon enough, the United States followed suit, with various Democrats and Republicans wanting to ban the app as well, claiming the possibility of China spying on the young American public. While ByteDance defended itself, claiming they had no connection with China's government, the threat was still on the mind of the US. They also claimed that the influence TikTok could have on its massive audience inside the country could be used to shape future elections, most importantly, the incoming 2020 elections between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. However, the ban never passed Congress, and TikTok remained in the United States, avoiding yet another massive loss for ByteDance abroad. However, TikTok's problems wouldn't end there, as the government of Hong Kong also ordered the banning of the app, citing their national security law that stated that all companies operating in the area would have to hand over user data to China if requested. As the independence movement in Hong Kong kept gathering momentum, social media apps such as TikTok were used to spread the word about government oppression, something that officials quickly took notice. They announced that any content created related to Hong Kong's secession or subversion of the government would be met with trial and the possibility of life imprisonment. ByteDance also decided to pull the plug on the area, not wanting to be associated with the handling of data to China or losing even more potential revenue in the various fines being threatened by the Hong Kong government. Number 5. The future. With statistics showing that users are loyal to the platform, TikTok's growth could be expanding even more within the following months or even years. 90% of its users enter the app multiple times a day, and with an ever-growing number of communities arising daily, possibilities are endless for now. 41% of total users are between the ages of 16 and 24 years old, meaning the Generation Z and Millennials are highly active, translating to even more growth in content and creators alike in the years to come. Future generations could also be getting an interest in TikTok as the diversification of content reaches an all-time high, covering almost all corners from entertainment to education. Meanwhile, Douyin in China alone has managed to establish itself as the largest knowledge, cultural, and art platform in the country, and TikTok seems to be following the same path. A question being asked by the interested parties around the world who continue seeing the massive growth of ByteDance is if there is investment opportunity in the works for the company? Currently, ByteDance is valued at approximately $180 billion, and with revenue numbers doubling in 2020 to $37 billion. Eyes are looking straight at the mastermind behind it all, Zhang Yiming, who could make the company public in the future. This would be a fantastic opportunity for capitalizing on the upward trend TikTok and Douyin are having. Although it all depends on Mr. Yiming, whose decision would surely raise lots of eyebrows along the way. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. We will continue exploring the biggest and greatest stories of the business world and would love to have you along for the ride. Once again, thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one.